going on, everybody? Welcome to Real Talk number 15. Today, I'd like to go over my crowdfunding experience. I'd like to be able to help others who are considering doing crowdfunding that haven't done it before, just kind of get mentally prepared, potentially based off of, what I have personally experienced, but also give other folks that have already ran a crowdfunder potentially someone that they could relate to, because a lot of us have had shared experiences that are quite similar when it comes to crowdfunding. So I'm going to kind of start from, sign up phase all the way through in demand, or I guess you could say campaign completion for folks that do Kickstarter. But, since I did Indiegogo and Fund My Comic, I'll also obviously focus on in demand. So first off, your sign up phase. Now, a lot of people do this in different ways. For me, I treated my sign up phase like it was an active campaign. And based on how well things went for me, I do have to highly recommend you do that as well. If you have some great pieces of art, especially cover art that you can start marketing, whether it's a few months in advance or even like 6, 7 months in advance, it can really, really work out in your benefit. Now, some people do just a quick sign up phase, like a month before, maybe 2 months before, and that could work for folks that are established and done many campaigns. I did mine, I think, at least 6, 7 months in advance. That way I had a good window to get as much work done as possible because I wanted to have a majority, if not the whole book, done in advance, though I know that's not always feasible. But really building up that sign up list can really help you hit the ground running. It can help you get momentum right out the gate when you do your launch party or whatnot. So it can really help build that confidence so that, you don't start out really slow, because that can really hurt your kind of your mindset going through that campaign. Even though 2 months is short, um, it can feel a lot longer if you're struggling throughout the entire period. Now, it's not just about having some art to show off for the sign up phase. For me, it was a trial and error phase when it comes to tweeting and sending out posts on Facebook, Reddit, or whatnot, just to see what clicks with folks. Is it just the image or images themselves, or is it certain ways of doing a log line or a quick pitch that is getting more likes, more retweets, more signups? So you can figure out well in advance what's reaching folks the best and what's garnering the best reactions. It's better to be doing that before the launch phase, because otherwise you're scrambling in that what can feel, again, like a short period of time during that 2 months. So it's a great time to experiment to see what could reach potential readers. And then of course, once you get to the launch phase, you have, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100, maybe it's hundreds of folks that you can send out the notification like, hey, we're launching this day, so that the ones that are really hyped about it will sign up on, or will actually back you day one and give you that momentum. Because the more backers you get, seems to be a psychological thing, the more backers you're going to continue to get, because people see value in the fact that a lot of others are backing you. It really helps. It's that, accumulation aspect of things. Now, the launch itself, so this is where it gets kind of tricky, because I'm going to do other videos in regards to just, building up information and, listening to a lot of different folks in advance to your crowdfunder. Because if you just complete your book or just put it on a crowdfunding site, you don't market it, you don't make connections, with rare exceptions, it's just going to get lost amongst the sea of other creators. Just like when people put books on Amazon thinking, oh, millions of people are going to see my book and they're going to see that cover art, they're just going to buy it. Well, if you're not paying for ads and things of that nature or doing any self-marketing, most people probably won't even come across it. And for Indiegogo, Fund My Comic, there's not a lot of folks that are just perusing the site looking for books to back. Kickstarter, there are folks that do that, But nevertheless, it's extremely important that you push hard prior to launching your book. And it's not just making tweets, it's connecting with other creators so that you could potentially go on their channel, promote your book, so that they'll want to retweet your work. And part of that, and that ties into I think it was my first Real Talk video is about self-promotion. Like, do you ask for it? And yes, I do think you should ask for it as long as you're respectful and go in with a level head. But it's also a matter of just connecting with folks. You help them out, it's a good chance they're going to help you out, even if that's as simple as just retweeting each other's work. And that can have a domino effect of just reaching people that you never expected to reach, which could turn into people asking you, hey, do you want to come on my show to promote your book? So it's really important that you follow other creators, retweet their work. I really think that that helps you in the long run. So going into the launch, I think having a good channel to have a launch party on is extremely good. That's what builds hype. If, like myself, I was fortunate enough to be on Michael Bancroft's channel. He has, pretty reliable numbers when it comes to people that view his live streams. I think there was at least, 70 to 100 people at a time watching it live, and I got at least $700-800 in funding in a matter of an hour or two. That really helped build some momentum, give you a little bit of peace of mind. But that's, the mental approach to your launch is extremely important. Everybody wants to hit quadruple digits right in their first night. I was really hoping I would based on, having several hundred signups. But, I also was trying to market novels, which is extremely difficult. So I was a bit bummed out, to be honest, with my initial launch. Because of course I was hoping for, $1,000, $2,000, etc. Because you really want to get to that goal so that you can have some peace of mind and relax. Because I'll tell you, that 2 month period is extremely stressful, extremely. And so it's all about kind of managing your hopes, keeping them level, not being too negative, but also not being too positive in a sense. And I know that sounds weird, but in the sense of don't get your hopes up and set the bar too high. Try to be somewhat realistic. But what I did was, after that launch party was done, I just went right to the movie theater, watched Oppenheimer, got some, creative juices flowing that really got me motivated, and you just continue on. And that's the thing with crowdfunding. You are going to have it's literally a roller coaster. Literally a roller coaster ride when it comes to your emotions. You are going to get a bunch of backers, and then you're going to have days, if not a week or so. It's different for everybody where you'll have no backers. You're going to have times where you just possibly want to give up almost. And then again, you're going to have a wave of backers and be like, oh, we're doing great. Everything's okay. And then you're going to have a dip, and then you're going to have a rise. It's extremely difficult on your emotions, and that could sound cringe, but the thing is, if you've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours on your project and you are extremely passionate about it, of course you're going to have emotions connected to it. I mean, that's inevitable. Now, the other important aspect when it comes to launching, which I should have mentioned earlier, is setting your goal. This is a bit of a mind bender. You have to choose between a using your real goal, right, to break even or make a profit, which could seem high to backers and potentially scare them away, especially if you're a first-time creator, you haven't built that trust, right? You don't have that name recognition. And if you do that and you don't hit that goal, you can't go into in demand. And if you didn't do the flexible option on like Indiegogo, it was that's it. You got to start over, do another campaign, which would be insanely stressful. Now, I went the route of setting the bar low on the goal and that again, it adds to the stress because even if you hit that goal, you may not be in the, in the money yet per se, and you still got a lot of work to do. So I set it kind of moderately low just to try to make sure that that I didn't put too high of a number to potentially scare people away. And I barely hit that number. Barely hit that number. And I did the flexible goal just because regardless of what number I hit, I wanted to get books into the hands of backers. But for me, what was most important was making sure I could go in demand, which is why I set the bar lower because you can really make up a lot of ground in demand. Now, the other aspect, which again ties into making those connections, networking, is going on live streams, doing shows. Just like I said, in regards to having to hit social media and marketing yourself, when it comes to comics and even novels for crowdfunding, YouTube is potentially a gold mine, but it's you got to put in a lot of time, and it's extremely difficult if you have a family, especially if you have kids and you work a full-time job. I had to for 2 months, have the support of my wife to for her to have less breaks because I would have to come home right from work, especially being West Coast time zone. I'd have to go right into live streams for hours. And this is the other part of just making sure that you are mentally prepared for those ups and downs because you could go on a big channel and walk away with no backers. You know, an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours of time, and you won't get any backers. Now, just because you don't get backers right then and there doesn't mean some of those viewers don't eventually back you, right? Maybe they don't have the funds right then, and then later on they do back you. So you have to just have that in the back of your mind of, hey, it's a time investment for hopefully for future backers. Or maybe the same viewers will see you on another channel, and then when you get to do your pitch a little bit differently, maybe something will connect with them and then they will back. Or maybe they're just waiting till the end of the campaign. That's quite normal. They want to wait to see if you're close to your goal because they want to make sure that they're going to get their books. So you have to be prepared for that happening. Now, when you're a very small creator or first time creator, one advice I will give is go on any show that you can, any show that your time permits you to do because like I said, you can go on big shows with hundreds of viewers. You might not walk away with a backer, and then ironically, the next day you could join a show that only has 4 live viewers, and you could walk away with several backers. I had that happen where, one night, went on a big show, dollars in backing. Next day, went on a very small show, but I want to also help those promotion channels make sure that they have content. So again, it's that, symbiotic kind of relationship there. And went on that small channel, walked away with like $350 in backing. And you're just like, I'm so thankful that that they invited me, but I'm so happy that I decided to go on that channel. Otherwise, that that's a huge chunk of money for a small creator that, for me, that if I wouldn't have got that amount of backing that day, I wouldn't have hit my goal. And then I wouldn't have been able to go in demand. And then I wouldn't be, over double um, of my funding, post, 2 month closing. So don't gauge the size of the channel in regards to what you think you will get for backers. So again, it's having that level-headed approach, turning over every stone possible. It's extremely important. But again, it's a huge time investment. It really is. So yeah, those are some major aspects in regards to during the launch phase, and a lot of it is just dealing with those ups and downs, the emotions, the frustrations, the peaks in regards to getting excited when you get a bunch of backers, and just that stress of like, oh man, if I don't hit that goal, I can't go in demand, and you're just really trying hard to not be too negative. And look, there were times where, I had the habit of kind of doing sarcastic, negative posts with GIFs that were, funny, but would also kind of pull some people in to try to deal with, like, man, I'm super stressed out. Like, I really don't like this position I'm in. Like, I'm pretty far from my funding. I only have so many days left. And I kind of would use humor to try to deal with that stress. But some folks, they get really frustrated. They vent online. I don't blame them. The other thing too is you don't want to be overly positive and too pushy online. That's part of kind of figuring out your marketing strategy and doing those trials when you're in that sign up phase. But again, you gotta make several tweets a day if you can. You gotta, find tweets that, are tied into promotion. Just get your stuff out there. Find readers that are into the type of story that you're doing, and just don't stop trying to find channels to go on either. Reach out. Even if it's a really big channel, right? It's very unlikely you're going to get on that channel. Don't be afraid to just shoot them a message. It does not hurt. Worst case, they don't respond or they say no. But I'll tell you, there were a couple huge channels I got on just because I reached out to folks because I did that networking. And man, am I happy I did that. So don't be afraid to reach out, even to the biggest of channels. And yeah, that's the other side of things is, again, you are going to have folks that are not going to respond. They might say no. You've got to be able to stay level-headed, not get too frustrated. There are going to be folks that will say yes, and then you never hear from them again, or you never even end up getting on their channel. So don't take it personally. Just say, hey, there's other options. Find more people. So it's a difficult time, but what's fantastic is the in-demand option or storefront option for Fund My Comic. And what I've heard, Kickstarter is actually finally going to do an in-demand option. Fantastic. Because when you're in that period, you can breathe, right? There is no time limit. You have all the time in the world, and you can kind of just, again, you can breathe, keep doing what you're doing, keep making your tweets, keep jumping on shows, but there isn't that pressure of, oh, I got to get this done within a certain amount of time. And it just opens up more options again to get on more channels. I ended up getting on, one of the biggest comic channels several times. Eventually, like a month or two after I went in demand. So I was really happy I didn't get too aggressive on the goal and that I worked as hard as I did, because being in demand is what allowed me to reach another 150 backers. I think I ended my campaign at around 5,000, which isn't too bad for a first time campaign, especially novels. And now I'm like $100 away from 12,000. And I'm confident if I keep going, I can get to 15, and who knows, maybe more. But that's what's great about the in-demand option. And to be honest, I think what hurts some creators is that once they're done with their primary campaign, it's like you don't see them again on Twitter. Like that's like the end of it. You don't see them promoting that book, even if they could go in demand and they just close it up. To me, it could help them to just keep promoting. The other thing that's great is, your backers end up posting pictures of their shipments, of their books. And then other people see those pictures and are like, oh, that looks cool. Can I back it? Where can I back it? And that's what I love, that I've kept it open, because then I'm like, boom, right here's the link. I got stock, I can ship next day. Awesome. Because that's one of the struggles when you're going through the campaign is you can't ship right away, right? You got to wait till the end of the campaign, which is why some folks wait towards the end, or some people may not back at all because they don't want to wait, however many months folks need that time, right, to make enough money to even make the book come to fruition. So what's great about having it in demand after you have the books in hand and that you're shipping is that you get that ability to reach more folks because they see your backers posting your pictures. They see your backers making reviews. I have gotten more backers because of my awesome readers making reviews on Twitter and online. So you can really get a lot of sales after the campaign closes. So use that to your advantage. Figure out what's the best option for you or the best method of handling in demand. But for me, I mean, I'm just going to keep it open probably until I have another campaign. I mean, why not? That way it's always readily available and you never have that risk of someone being like, oh, is this campaign still open? And then simply saying no or having to do PayPal or something. And so being prepared also with, doing a little bit of extra of a print run so that you have that stock on hand. That's stuff you got to manage, obviously with, your finances and everything. But, in demand can really, really get you a long way. And I've seen a lot of campaigns triple, quadruple, or more the amount of funds post campaign or 2 month closure. So again, don't waste that time and definitely utilize it to your advantage. The other thing, just in the grand scheme of things, is making sure that you watch videos and live streams of folks that have been through this. Learn from their mistakes. Also learn from the positive aspects of their experiences. Get influence from several different people so that you can kind of figure out your game plan and your trial plan, because that's very important. Going in blind into anything is yeah, obviously a bad idea. And there are so many creators out there that are doing these videos, that are doing live streams that you can learn from. And, there are, of course, folks that say, oh, I've created a handbook. You just follow this to a T and you're going to succeed. I'm not a big fan of that approach. I think you really need to listen and digest information from several people and then figure out what's the best fit for you. I mean, when you're trying to write a story or create a book, you don't usually only read stories or watch movies from one creator, right? You read books from several different authors, you watch movies of different genres, a bunch of different TV shows, and all of that information from all those different angles is what helps you become the creator that you end up being. It also helps you grow. So I think it's really important in advance to just listen from a different bunch of different perspectives, regardless of their political affiliations or any of that nonsense. Just listen to what they have to say, and maybe be a little cautious of the ones that are trying to guarantee that their way is the only way or whatnot. But uh, yeah, so those, I mean, that's essentially my crowdfunding experience, and it's not over. Like I said, I'm still working as hard as I can. I have extremely limited time when it comes to streaming. Uh, I'm lucky if I do it once a week. I get maybe an hour or two a week to do these YouTube videos. Um, but just make the most of the time that you have. And even when you're in demand, you're gonna have a week where you get no backers, and then you could get hit with like 10 backers within a couple days. So it's again just managing those ups and downs, staying motivated, and just keep pushing, keep tweaking the way you do tweets, the way you do promotional, um, messaging. It's all about learning from your experiences, fine tuning things. I mean, it's the same as writing or creating, learning over time, becoming better. Don't forget about marketing in person. I did another video. I can't remember which Real Talk number it is. Scroll through them, you'll see it. But marketing yourself outside of the internet can really help. I've done farmers markets. I've put up a small booth in front of a coffee shop a couple times. I've done local art events where you can not only sell a good amount of books, but you can get folks to follow you online who can then back your book on your crowdfunder or you know, get on your sign up list. Again, gotta get yourself out there. Again, I know this from experience with Amazon. Can't just doesn't necessarily matter how good your art is or your story. You can't just put it on a site and expect it to hit the ground running on its own. It used to be the way it could be with traditional publishing, but not so much anymore. So you got to put in all the effort. You got to bust your ass because no one else is going to do it for you. And very few people are going to just do it out of the blue. It's about connecting with folks, helping others, and just supporting the indie community, in my opinion. So, in the spirit of supporting the indie community, I would like to promote someone's book. So, Outlaw Nights, issue 1. So, Ben here, the creator, he's been, really busting hard to try to get this book out there the last couple of years. It's been kind of flying under the radar, but it really is a nice looking book. He's got a second chance campaign here. He's only got a goal of $500. He's at 300 and he's only got 5 days left. So I really recommend folks go give this a shot. It's extremely affordable. It is only like $15 for a physical issue. And this has got some really nice, clean looking art and really nice looking colors. It's a great sci-fi story, gives you kind of the vibes of, Blade Runner, Battlestar Galactica, all those types of stories. Obviously, I mean, just look at it. This looks like, nice classic sci-fi story. But yeah, very, very clean art and very alluring colors here. So I really recommend folks go check this out, help a small indie creator. Let's read through a bit of the blurb here. All right, Outlaw and Knights. Genesis of a renegade. Welcome to the 31st century. Humanity has been colonizing far into the reaches of the galaxy. It is a time of colonization or colonialism, echoing the past discovery of the New World on a much grander scale. As such, the nations of Earth, the inland, have been struggling to maintain power over their territories. This has given birth to a new and grand golden age of piracy. The farther into space or the outlands one goes, the more chaos reigns. So, space pirates. I mean, that's, that actually right there is going to give you some, yeah, that sounds really cool. Gives you some kind of Firefly vibes. I like that. In the midst of this, our hero Cyrus Lawson has had a rough go at life. In his early 20s, he has seen his fair share of mayhem. He has settled on a remote and insignificant British colony called Teres. As a memory of the colony guard, he is not anticipating much trouble. He is gravely mistaken. The pirates of the ship Hazard are in pursuit of a strange piece of data with information that every nation is seeking. Can Cyrus thwart these invaders? What lies before our naive settler? So yeah, very cool premise. I'm going to be backing this today. Again, it's only $15 for a physical copy, $10 for a digital. Let's help this guy get over his goal, help him be able to make more books in the future. But yeah, I mean, great looking art. I really, really like this. It's got the infamous Render Contender, one of the line artists, also Simon Pothier, who's done Nat the Merc. He's a great artist as well. So yeah, highly recommend this. Eric Weathers did the lettering. He letters everything. But yeah, I mean, this looks great. So yeah, everybody please check that out. And then of course, can't forget my own books. Please go to Indiegogo.com, check out Vigilantes Creed. I have 2 novels and a mini comic about a gargoyle and a team of vigilantes fighting terror in Detroit. It's got mind control. It's got proper vigilantism. Anybody that's a fan of Alan Moore, Christopher Nolan, etc., these would be the types of books for you. There's also a mini comic, as mentioned, that has it introduces all the major and supporting characters with some eye-popping art by Corey Barton. so that you can play out the novels like a film in your mind. It's very Lovecraftian in style. It's got a pure hero, a pure team of vigilantes fighting true evil. This is not a redeemable villain in the story, and it's got the main character, Dread Knight, the Gargoyle, has a unique kind of hybrid no-kill rule. So fans of Batman, Hellboy, this is definitely your cup of tea. So please go check it out. The link is in the description. The link for Outlaw Nights is also in the description. So please check it out. Appreciate you guys watching. So thank you. God bless.